Welcome to a journey of enlightenment and wisdom, where we explore timeless life lessons from one of history's most profound spiritual teachers, Gautama Buddha. Buddha's teachings transcend cultures and generations, offering guidance on how to navigate the complexities of life. He shared insights that resonate deeply within us, illuminating the path toward inner peace, compassion, and understanding. In a world filled with distractions and uncertainties, the lessons of Buddha remind us of the importance of mindfulness, the power of love and compassion, and the necessity of self-reflection. From the Four Noble Truths to the Noble Eightfold Path, Buddha's wisdom encourages us to seek clarity amidst chaos and to cultivate a life of purpose. Join us as we delve into these life lessons, drawing inspiration from Buddha's teachings to enrich our lives and the lives of those around us. Let us awaken our minds and open our hearts to the profound truths that guide us toward a more meaningful existence. Are you ready to embark on this transformative journey? Let's begin. Today we will learn about Buddha's next life lesson, humility. Humility is the quality of being modest, respectful, and free from arrogance or pride. It is an acknowledgement of one's limitations and a recognition that all people have equal worth, regardless of their abilities, achievements, or status. Humility is not about thinking less of oneself but about thinking of oneself less, emphasizing the importance of others and the collective good over personal ego. Key aspects of humility: self-awareness. Humility begins with self-awareness, which involves an honest assessment of one's strengths, weaknesses, and limitations. A humble person recognizes their own imperfections and is open to learning and growth. This self-awareness prevents them from being blinded by pride or ego. Modesty. Humility is often associated with modesty, a trait that involves downplaying one's achievements and not seeking excessive praise or recognition. A humble person is comfortable with their successes but does not boast or flaunt them. They let their actions speak for themselves rather than seeking validation from others. Respect for others. Humility involves a deep respect for others, regardless of their status or abilities. A humble person values the contributions and perspectives of others and does not consider themselves superior. This respect fosters healthy relationships, cooperation, and a sense of equality. Openness to feedback. A humble individual is open to constructive criticism and feedback. They understand that they do not have all the answers and are willing to listen to others' opinions and advice. This openness allows them to grow and improve, both personally and professionally. Service to others. Humility often manifests in a desire to serve others without expecting anything in return. A humble person is willing to put the needs of others before their own and is motivated by the well-being of the community rather than personal gain. This selflessness is a hallmark of true humility. Gratitude. Humble individuals tend to be grateful for the opportunities, support, and kindness they receive from others. They recognize that their achievements are not solely the result of their efforts but also the contributions of others. This gratitude helps them stay grounded and prevents them from becoming arrogant. Recognition of interconnectedness. Humility involves an understanding of the interconnectedness of all life. A humble person recognizes that they are part of a larger whole and that their actions have an impact on others. This awareness fosters a sense of responsibility and encourages them to act with consideration and care for the greater good. Benefits of humility. Personal growth. Humility allows individuals to grow by being open to learning, change, and self-improvement. When people acknowledge their limitations and mistakes, they create opportunities for personal development and greater wisdom. Improved relationships. Humility fosters stronger, more meaningful relationships. When people are humble, they are more empathetic, understanding, and supportive. This creates an environment of trust and mutual respect, making it easier to resolve conflicts and build lasting connections. Leadership qualities. Humility is a key trait of effective leadership. Humble leaders inspire and motivate others by focusing on the needs of their team rather than their own ego. They lead by example, are approachable, and create a culture of collaboration and respect. Resilience. Humility helps individuals cope with challenges and setbacks. When people are humble, they are more likely to accept failures as learning experiences rather than as reflections of their worth. This resilience allows them to bounce back from difficulties with grace and determination. Greater happiness. Humility is linked to greater happiness and well-being. Humble individuals are less likely to be consumed by envy, pride, or the need for external validation. They find contentment in simple things and in the satisfaction of contributing to the well-being of others. Peace of mind. Humility brings a sense of inner peace. When people are not driven by the need to prove themselves or outshine others, they experience less stress and anxiety. Humility allows them to live authentically, without the burden of maintaining a false image or competing with others. Challenges to practicing humility. Ego and pride. The biggest obstacles to humility are ego and pride. It can be challenging to let go of the desire for recognition, praise, and superiority. Overcoming these tendencies requires conscious effort and self-reflection. Cultural influences. In some cultures, humility may be undervalued, with greater emphasis placed on assertiveness, competition, and self-promotion. Navigating these cultural norms while maintaining humility can be difficult. Fear of vulnerability. Humility requires a certain level of vulnerability, as it involves admitting weaknesses and being open to criticism. This can be intimidating, especially in environments where vulnerability is perceived as a weakness. Misunderstanding humility. Humility is sometimes misunderstood as passivity, weakness, or lack of ambition. This misconception can discourage people from practicing humility, as they may fear it will diminish their success or status. Developing humility. Practice self-reflection. Regular self-reflection helps individuals stay aware of their strengths and weaknesses. By honestly assessing their actions and motivations, they can cultivate humility and avoid being driven by ego. Seek feedback. Asking for feedback from others is a powerful way to develop humility. It shows a willingness to learn and grow and helps individuals see themselves from different perspectives. Embrace mistakes. Embracing mistakes as opportunities for growth rather than sources of shame fosters humility. Acknowledging and learning from errors helps individuals stay grounded and focused on self-improvement. Serve others. Engaging in acts of service, whether through volunteering, helping a colleague, or supporting a friend, reinforces the value of humility. Serving others shifts the focus away from oneself and emphasizes the importance of contributing to the greater good. Cultivate gratitude. Practicing gratitude helps individuals recognize the contributions of others in their lives. By acknowledging the support and kindness they receive, they can maintain a humble attitude and avoid taking things for granted. Let go of comparisons. Avoiding comparisons with others is essential for maintaining humility. Focusing on personal growth and achievements without measuring them against others' success reduces the need for validation and competition. Humility in different cultures and religions. 1. Buddhism. In Buddhism, humility is a key virtue that is closely tied to the concept of anatta, or non-self. Buddhists believe that attachment to the ego is a source of suffering and that humility helps to overcome this attachment, leading to enlightenment. 2. Christianity. Humility is a central teaching in Christianity, often associated with the example of Jesus Christ, who embodied humility through his life and actions. The Bible encourages believers to be humble, serve others, and place their trust in God rather than in worldly status or power. 3. In Islam, humility is a fundamental aspect of faith. Muslims are taught to submit to the will of Allah and to recognize their dependence on Him. Humility is also reflected in the way Muslims are encouraged to treat others with kindness, respect, and equality. 4. Humility in Hinduism is closely linked to the concept of ahimsa, non-violence, and seva, selfless service. Hindus are encouraged to practice humility by recognizing the divine in all beings and by serving others without seeking recognition or reward. 5. In Judaism, humility is considered a virtue that brings one closer to God. The Jewish tradition emphasizes the importance of humility in both personal conduct and in one's relationship with the divine. Humble individuals are seen as those who acknowledge their own limitations and rely on God's guidance. Conclusion: humility is a powerful and transformative virtue that enriches both the individual and the community. It fosters personal growth, strengthens relationships, and creates an environment of mutual respect and understanding. By practicing humility, individuals can lead more fulfilling and peaceful lives, free from the burdens of ego and pride. Humility is not about diminishing oneself, but about recognizing the value of others and contributing to the greater good. It is a timeless virtue that remains essential for personal well-being and harmonious living in any society. A short story on humility. The story of the humble king. In the ancient kingdom of Saravon, there lived a wise and beloved king named Arion. Known for his fairness and compassion, King Arion ruled the land with a deep sense of responsibility, always prioritizing the welfare of his people over his own desires. Despite his great power and wealth, Arion was a man of humility, never letting his status cloud his judgment or lead to pride. One day, a traveling sage arrived in Saravon, seeking an audience with the king. The sage, renowned for his wisdom and insight, had visited many kingdoms, offering guidance to rulers and commoners alike. Curious and eager to learn, King Arion welcomed the sage into his court. "Your Majesty," the sage began, "I have traveled far and wide, observing the ways of kings and rulers. Many of them boast of their power and riches, believing themselves to be above others. But I see something different in you. I see humility, and I wish to understand how you came to possess such a rare quality." King Arion smiled and invited the sage to join him on a walk through the palace gardens. As they strolled, the king began to share his story. "Many years ago, before I ascended to the throne, I was a young prince full of ambition and eager to prove myself. I believed that being a king meant wielding power and commanding respect. But one day, something happened that changed my perspective forever." Arion recounted the day he had ventured into the outskirts of the kingdom, disguised as a commoner to observe the lives of his subjects. As he walked through the village, he encountered an old farmer struggling to carry a heavy sack of grain. Without hesitation, the young prince offered to help. The farmer, unaware of Arion's true identity, accepted the help gratefully. As they worked together, the farmer began to share stories of his life. The hardships he had faced, and the lessons he had learned. The farmer spoke of humility. Arion continued, explaining that true strength lies not in dominating others but in serving them. "He told me that a person who is humble is always willing to learn, to grow, and to help those in need." His words struck me deeply. As the day ended and Arion prepared to return to the palace, the farmer thanked him and offered a piece of advice that would stay with him forever. "Remember, young man," the farmer said, "no matter how high you rise, never forget the ground beneath your feet. It is from the earth that all life springs, and it is to the earth that we all return, returning to the palace. Arion reflected on the farmer's wisdom. He realized that true leadership was not about power or prestige, but about humility, service, and a deep respect for all people, regardless of their station in life. When he eventually became king, Arion ruled with these principles at the forefront of his mind. He listened to his advisors, respected the opinions of his people, and never let his title make him feel superior to others. His humility endeared him to his subjects, and under his rule, Saravaun flourished as a kingdom of peace and prosperity. The sage listened to King Arion's story with great interest. "Your Majesty," he said, "it is clear to me now why your kingdom thrives. Your humility has not only made you a wise ruler but also a beacon of hope and goodness for your people. Humility is indeed the mark of true greatness." King Arion nodded, his heart filled with gratitude for the farmer who had taught him such an invaluable lesson. "I have learned that humility is not about thinking less of oneself, but about thinking of oneself less. It is about recognizing that we are all part of something greater, and that our true strength lies in lifting others up, rather than elevating ourselves." The sage departed from Saravaun, carrying with him the story of the humble king who ruled with kindness and wisdom. And so, the tale of King Arion spread far and wide, becoming a timeless lesson in humility for generations to come. In the years that followed, Saravaun continued to prosper, guided by the principles of humility and service that King Arion embodied. The people of Saravaun often gathered in the palace gardens, where the king would share stories and listen to their concerns, always with the same humble spirit that had made him beloved by all. And when King Arion eventually passed away, the kingdom mourned not just the loss of a great ruler, but of a man whose humility had touched the hearts of everyone he encountered. His legacy lived on, a shining example of how humility can transform not only a leader but an entire kingdom. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the timeless wisdom of Buddha. We've explored profound life lessons that offer us a deeper understanding of suffering, the nature of our desires, and the path to true inner peace and liberation. The Four Noble Truths teach us to recognize and accept the reality of suffering, to understand its origins, and to believe in the possibility of its end. By following the Noble Eightfold Path, we can cultivate a life of mindfulness, compassion, and wisdom, leading us to profound inner transformation and lasting happiness. Remember, these teachings are not just ancient philosophies but practical guides for our everyday lives. Whether it's through right understanding, right action, or right mindfulness, each step we take on this path brings us closer to a state of balance and serenity. As we conclude, I want to extend my heartfelt gratitude to each of you for your time, attention, and openness to these teachings. Your willingness to learn and grow is the first step towards a more enlightened and peaceful existence. Thank you for being a part of this journey. If you found value in these lessons, please share them with others who might benefit. Together, we can spread the light of wisdom and compassion in our world. Until next time, may you walk your path with mindfulness and may your life be filled with peace and joy. Namaste.